But speaking of the Bulls, Dave, we're going to move over to a different topic that kind of involves the Bulls, but it's an older Bulls team and a team right now that is possibly being viewed as everybody in Golden State. I know what you guys are going through, especially if you're like, I don't know, 6 to 8 years old, because I lived that in the 90s. That was my Bulls.
You're seeing the start of something special.
You're seeing the start of something very special, and I'm gonna say it. 73 wins. I am hoping you guys get 73 because I'm starting to be pulled over to the side of, you know what? Fuck it. Records are made to be broken.
Our team was great. We enjoyed the Bulls, the dynasty.
Let's be honest.
But you know what? Seeing something amazing happen, I think you can take yourself out of being a fan of a certain team and just being a fan of the sport.
It's so great to see.
Because it's something that, it doesn't come around that often. You don't see people be so dominating in an era where players are more athletic. Mm-hmm. They're scouted harder. They're better trained. And the competition's never been closer. And yet, at the same time, you have this team that's so head and shoulders above everybody else.
Except the Spurs.
And who aren't getting credit for the job they're doing, maybe.
Let's be honest. If Golden State was 44-20 like the Thunder, we're having this discussion about the Spurs. Not 73, but they're only 3 wins and 4 losses.
Yeah.
Worse than
they're not that far off.
Worse than the Warriors. And as many games as there is back of the Warriors, which is 3, that's how many games these two teams have left. Two of them are in San Antonio as well, and neither San Antonio or Golden State have lost at home.
In quite some time. I believe San Antonio is the number 3 all-time record for straight home wins, and Golden State's number 1.
31-0 this season.
Yeah, and Golden State's number 1. Yeah. So there you go.
Well, and I mean, one of the biggest thing that's going to stand within the Warriors and 73 wins, to me, is going to be the Spurs. Because there's 3 contests left with the Spurs, and if the Spurs win 3 of those, the Warriors are at 9 losses. The absolute minimum.
Well, they absolutely can't win 3 of them because one game is being played in Golden State.
Okay, so they'll win 2 of them.
There's a chance they'll win 2.
They'll win the 2 in San Antonio.
But honestly, do you think by April 10th that the Spurs will still be playing their full starting lineup? Do you think Pop will go full Pop mode?
Is Pop still coaching? Because he hasn't been coaching the last 2 games.
I think by April 10th, Pop will have Timmy D on the bench for about 89% of that game, or 100%.
Here's going to be the interesting part, and this is more so for, maybe not for March 19th, but for the April games.
Yeah.
If the Spurs keep close and they go, okay, now we're within like 2 games of the Warriors. Let's say the Warriors.
Does it really matter to the Spurs?
I think it kind of does, because
it only matters in the final match. So
it matters because when you do get
Western Conference Finals, that's
when
the
you
only
get to
time
the
it matters.
Western Conference Finals, the 2 teams that haven't lost at home, I want to have that extra home game. That's how I would
Pop
see it.
doesn't care. I feel like Pop wants a better rested team.
Pop may not care, but I'm looking at this statistically, Dave, and I'm saying neither team has lost at home. The only way I'm going to beat the Warriors is if I have that extra home game.
Entirely
That's the
possible.
way I see it.
I mean, yeah, that adds up. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying that Pop values resting his older crew more than he would that extra home game, in my mind.
Because there are two teams, that I see the Warriors could lose to. The first one is maybe beat them twice. Depends on those 2 San Antonio games.
Yeah.
Because San Antonio's been great at home. And
they've been great overall. This is a team that's being outshadowed by a record-pacing team. And outside of that, they're just stomping people left and right. I mean, they've got a great lineup, crazy depth, and they got some old guys performing like they're not even that old. Like, I'll be honest, Ginobili probably is the oldest looking out of the group, but Tim Duncan, just Mr. Fundamental, like I said, it's not the fact that he is athletically superior to everybody. It's the fact that he just has the touch. He has the game knowledge. He has the smarts. That's where his game is from. It's not from being an athletic freak. Meanwhile, you got making up for that Kawhi Leonard, who is just disgusting, and then LaMarcus Aldridge. So their team is just stacked so well with talent that I don't know. They could be the deepest team in the NBA.
Well, and I mean, the one thing I just looked at, just to complete the comparison of...
I'm sorry. I forgot to mention Kmart.
Yeah, you forgot to mention Kmart because he just got signed to the team. But just to complete this whole comparison of the Warriors to the Bulls they didn't have to deal with this at all in their conference because the Orlando Magic were the 2 seed the year that the Bulls won 72. Guess how many wins the Magic had that year?
55.
Close. They had 60. They went 60-22. Full 12 games back of the Bulls.
Was that Penny's second season? That was Penny and Shaq, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a disgusting team. God, I miss Penny Hardaway.
Shaq was on that team. You had Penny on that team. Horace Grant was on that team.
Oh, that was a good team.
Nick Anderson was on that team. Dennis Scott was on that team.
I love old Penny Hardaway.
That was a good team.
He was my, outside of Chicago, he was my hero growing up.
Oh, he was your favorite player. Let's be honest, one of your favorite players. That wasn't his second. That was his second season. Yeah. You're right. Second into his third season in the league. But yeah, and I mean, the only other team that was close enough to the Bulls were the first place team that they met in the finals and beat, Sean Kemp, Gary Payton, in the 64-win George Karl Supersonics.
Yeah.
That was the only team that was close enough to the Bulls, but they were in the other conference altogether. The Warriors have a great team in their own conference.
It's true.
And what kind of a season would it be if they get exactly 72-10, but the Spurs get it as well, and then the Spurs get the 1 seed?
Wait, are you telling me the 2 teams could tie the record?
They could, because the Spurs only have 10 losses right now.
How many more? So they're going to run the table.
So if the Spurs would have to run the table, but we could technically have 2 72-win teams.
I mean,
but Golden State would have to lose 4 games.
I don't believe it, but
here's what Golden State would have to do, and this is why it won't happen. They would have to lose 4 games. 2 of those the Spurs can do, so they'd have to lose.
They'd have to win. They'd have to lose the third too, because the Spurs need to win everything going forward.
Yeah.
So
if the Spurs beat them 3 times, actually, that can't happen. If the Spurs beat them all 3 of the remaining times, that can happen, because the one game, not San Antonio, this is the only game other than San Antonio I see the Warriors possibly losing, March 30th at Utah. It was a 3-point game the last time when the Warriors almost went 18-1.
That Utah team has some fun youth, and they can really just go shot for shot.
They just know how to play the Warriors.
They go shot for shot, too.
Yeah. And I mean, the Warriors are going to get, from now on, you're going to get the best from each team. Portland can beat you. The only reason I'm saying
given night.
The only reason why I'm saying they won't is because you're playing them at the Oracle twice this season.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the end of the season, so it's everything out, like leave nothing on the court kind of shit. So, yeah, I agree with you in the fact that it could happen. I don't think it will. I think we're looking at a 73-win team in Golden State. So they get
exactly 73?
I think they're going 73. And I think that it'll probably be like 69 for the
Spurs?
The Spurs, yeah.
And what's going to be the only difference is the Warriors beat them, let's say, 2 out of 3?
Probably.
And that's the only reason to me, it's going to be interesting, because I could see, like I said, the Spurs beating them twice. Okay, that's 8 losses. Then if Utah beats them, then you're right at the 73 mark. I think on April 10th, Sunday, April 10th, it is going to be in San Antonio. If the Warriors win that game, they're the first. If the Spurs win, then we wait and see for 3 more games if the Warriors can get the 1 seed.
It'll be a crazy finish one way or the other.
I think it's coming down to it. That's what I feel like. I feel like it's going to come down to that game.
And just to wrap back to the Bulls one last time.
The 95-96 Bulls?
Absolutely. Well, not even the 95-96, just the Bulls in general.
Okay.
Is this a team at the beginning of their dynasty? They've won 1 year.
It feels like
year 2, they're on record pace, and they have their talent locked down going forward.
I mentioned this to Dave, and of course it was a different kind of, and I'm talking to you now listening, not Dave. I'm talking to you, the listener. I mentioned this to Dave before we hit the record button of Michael Jordan won his first title, the 90-91 title, technically his 6th full season in the league. I say the 6th because 85-86, he only played 18 games because I think he had I think it was an ankle injury at the time. And Steph Curry, his 6th year in the league, wins a title last year. 7th year, he's on pace for another title. I could see this team beginning their dynasty right now. because Steve Kerr doesn't look like he's going anywhere anytime soon. Steph Curry's going to be there for life. Klay Thompson looks like he is. I feel like the three big of Draymond, Klay, and Curry, that is your modern day Jordan, Pippen, Rodman. Well, if we're comparing it to the second three-peat, not the first three-peat.
No, I totally understand where you're going with that. And that's the thing is like these guys are absolutely like family to each other at this point. I'm bought in. Like we said earlier, Harrison Barnes is going to be the first member of that kind of core who becomes available, but it is restricted. So it's one where they're either going to keep Barnes or they're going to pull something crazy and get KD. Outside of that, they've got a lot of bench players who are great role players, but who don't command a lot of value because of whether it's their age or whether it is their limited, role on a team. So the chance that they could reload and continue with this heavy core until, I think the end of 2017. So it'll be another year after that. And then it's, will they reload? Will they keep everybody? Will they keep going? And I'm pushing for it because I feel like this team has all the talent in the world to continue doing that, and no one has an answer for it yet.
Well, and I'm right now doing one last thing, and this is just to show a little context for Warriors fans who are probably like, yeah, but Ricky, can we keep these guys this long in this kind of new NBA? Just to give you a little hindsight, the only two Bulls that were on the team when they won their first title, that were on the team starting of the second dynasty, were Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen.
There you go.
Everyone from that first title was long gone because Jordan at that time was a 6-year pro. Like I said, it was his 6th year in the league. Scottie Pippen had 3. It was only his 3rd season. And everyone else like B.J. Armstrong was gone, Stacey King. Stacey King was only a sophomore when they won that first title. The only rookie they had on that team was Scott Williams, the 90-91.
There you go.
The one where me and you were 1 year old.
Just wee little
when
ones.
they won it, where we don't even remember it.
Yeah.
And then you look at, like I said, the old guys on the team, James Edwards, who 18-year pro at that point, wasn't on that first championship team. Michael Jordan was the next one with 10 years. So, yeah, it's a little bit different.
They also worked their contracts a little differently back in the day. It was extremely Jordan-centric, and then everybody else got scraps.
Yeah, everyone else got scraps. But, I mean...
I think Steph, Klay, and Draymond together...
They can stick it out.
Absolutely.
I mean, for the Bulls, it was basically Scottie and Jordan, and then great we got Rodman from the Bad Boy Pistons. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Because Rodman was originally with Isaiah Thomas and
this front office, I have a lot of confidence in them. They seem to understand what they need and what to value. I mean, Andre Iguodala, working with him to come off the bench last year and become the best
finals MVP off the bench. Take that, AI.
It was absolutely huge for them, and the fact that they're still making moves, they're still working on this team, making them better. And I feel like they're going to continue rotating that crop of, older veterans who are able to provide these special areas for them and bring in the young guys to keep feeding that monster.
Yeah.
I like this team. I'd like to see them going forward for the next 3-4 years.
Well, it's going to be a very special, I'm going to say special couple of years, it looks like.
I'm excited for the end of this season. Beyond belief.
I can't wait for the playoffs. I just want them to start tomorrow.
It's been a long time since I've been this happy for an NBA season at this point of the season. And that's not even for the Bulls. Whatever. I just want the playoffs to start tomorrow, baby. That's all I want. Absolutely.
But that's going to do it for the Fast Break podcast. I want to thank you guys for listening. Hopefully Sean will be back next week. Hopefully he did not lose his way. He remembers where the studio is, and he didn't forget us when he was in Sioux City, Iowa for this week. I want to thank you guys for listening to the Fast Break. You can hit that repost, that heart button on SoundCloud, like and subscribe on YouTube. You can follow me on Twitter at Ricky Widmer. Dave is at Dave Don't Tweet with underscores in between. Most Valuable Podcast is at Most Valuable Pod. Thank you guys again for listening to the Fast Break. And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you.
Thank you for listening to this MVP podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Most Valuable Pod for more great podcasts.